Alrighty.
Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on just a 24-year-old from Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada.
Yeah,
His hockey journey has taken him to Canada and China. He started out as a puppy in Canada with the Delta Hockey Academy in the under-17s, then headed for China to spread his hockey wings, mucking it up with the KRS Juniors, and then the next year moved to the KRS Heilongjiang and promptly became the starter, lacing him up for 45 matches and got the call to the VHL for a couple games too. Then got the full-time call to VHL and BSU Beijing. After 3 short seasons in China, he earned his way to the KHL with the Kunlun Red Stars and for fun became a legend of China because at the World Championships, China won gold and he had the best goals against and save percentage in the tournament. Winning is fun. Then just last season, he was back with the Kunlun Red Stars and Team China, who he backstopped to a bronze medal this time up a group. He is now set to lace him up with Wilfrid Laurier University, back where I come from. Welcome to the shed, Paris O'Brien.
thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yes. I get into how we know each other. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
But how we actually know each other is we know equipment guys,
Yeah, yes, sir. We do. Some really well-known equipment guys by the sounds of it.
right? They're like world famous, man. Andy out in Frölunda, Sweden, eh? I hope Andy listens to this and I hope this time he remembers to send me my Frölunda swag to the shed headquarters, right?
Probably will if you ask him. No.
Well, this is the third time I've asked him now, right? He was the one that offered.
Yeah.
But you were with him with Kunlun, and when he came on, he told me that season you guys were based out of Moscow.
Yeah. I played 3 seasons basically with the KHL team. My first year we were in China, so we went up and down between the VHL and the KHL. And then the second year with Andy there, it was in Moscow. Same
Right.
with the third year, last couple of years here. It's been in Moscow.
Really? It's still there?
Yeah, it's still there, the team, just because of COVID and everything kind of changed on the political landscape. So it was
Yeah.
easier for the Chinese team just to stay in Russia. So they
So the
made our home
Chinese
base.
team is out of Russia still.
Yeah, still out of Russia, out of Matishi, which is like the suburbs of Moscow.
Okay.
So
So that's
uh,
where you've been living.
yeah, for the last couple of years. Yeah, but right now I'm back home right now, which is good to be back in Vancouver. And yeah, happy to be here on the podcast and kind of living life more or less, right?
Well, there is more ways we are getting to know each other, but you also had Deese as an equipment manager.
Yeah. My last year he was the equipment manager for KHL team, and then for the world when we had worlds with the world with Team China there, he was their equipment manager for a little bit. So I got to know him both of them, Andy and D's, pretty well
Yeah,
over the
the
course of the
world.
year.
You imagine world famous equipment guys, eh? Who would have
Yeah,
thunk, eh?
yeah. They got good guys. I mean, totally honest. I mean, we had a good connection with them. Both really awesome dudes, right? So
Well,
easy to get along with.
I think
So
equipment guys can change a team if they're good dudes and they have fun at the rink and make hockey fun. It can make everybody have more fun at the rink, and then you play better.
for sure, 100%. Especially if they, obviously know what they're doing, which they clearly do, right? So, but yeah. Well, anyways, how did you know Andy and Dees?
Well, Deese was well, I was there when he got his first equipment manager job in Cardiff,
No
Wales.
way.
I
Yeah.
was it was my first year on the team. They got rid of the guy we had at the start of the year, and he was just hanging around the rink being a bum.
Yeah.
And he was in between jobs or whatever. And then they're like, "Well, why don't you do this?" And then look at him go now.
Look at him now. I
Yeah.
know. And he's
And
still
then
going.
Andy, I got to know from Jeff Maxwell, the equipment manager in Straubing,
Okay.
Germany, who knows
Yeah.
Deese. And then he knew Andy. And then, the Shed family grew, I,
Oh
I
yeah.
got to know all the Shed guy equipment guys.
For sure. I think it's kind of funny because every guy that I get to know, especially overseas, it's such a small world, the hockey world and how everybody knows everybody, right? For
It
the
is a
most part.
small world, dude. And like we're
Very-
talking about you playing for Team China and the
Yeah.
KHL, and now you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
Wilfrid Laurier University.
Yeah, I know. It's a big jump. Even like looking back at like my career so far, like professionally and the opportunity I got to go overseas. initially when I got introduced to it, I was going to Delta Hockey Academy, right? And it was actually Mike Keenan who scouted me,
Yeah.
and yeah, he kind of saw what he liked, and then invited me when I was 17 to go to like this tryout camp out in Finland as a 17-year-old. So I basically dropped all my. I'm in high school at this time and dropping everything just to do this, you know. And it's kind of been a whirlwind of events, more or less.
No
Where
kidding. So then I guess we'll get into that then, but um you're 17 years old, Delta Hockey Academy. That's like by your hometown, is that right?
yeah, yeah, it's like it's about 45 minutes, give or take, from where I live currently, in the suburbs of Vancouver. And yeah,
You
so I
just
played a
live there
year.
and go to school, or do you live at home?
You would go to school, well, live at home, but then go to the like a hockey academy. So you would just go there for school and then hockey at the same time. And so I played in the U17 prep team there for a year. And surprisingly, the year before that, I actually decided to quit hockey, quote unquote, because I felt like just because I was playing minor hockey and I wasn't really happy with the way my development was going. And
Hmm.
then the next year, I went to the academy, and yeah, and then funny enough, I was going on the bus to go to school after our hockey practices. We did hockey practice in the morning and then school after, right? So and then during
You
one
get
of
to have a
the
nap in between, like most hockey guys.
yeah, yeah, nap on the bus on the way to school. Yeah, and then I was on the bus ride going to school, and then I got a phone call from my mom, who just happened to be just getting off a phone call with like a family friend who needed an extra goalie for their practice, and they never really told us anything or told me anything, anyways. So I kind of ended up skipping school that day, you know, which I
Yeah,
don't recommend, obviously, but
right.
yeah, did that, and then went to play hockey, and then it turned out to be a tryout camp for like the Chinese national team. For they were seeking because they had the bid for the Olympics that year, way back when, right? This is 2016, 2017. This happened, and then yeah, kind of went to this camp. They were looking for like heritage guys, so guys that are like half Chinese for
That
their
could
national.
get passports.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where they were going. And then I got there and they basically asked me, like, oh, you're half Chinese, right? And I said, yeah, I am on my mom's side. And yeah, so went there, had honestly no idea what I was getting myself into. And I played, you know, my normal game. And then just so happened after the practice, I got approached by Mike Keenan, which is super surreal, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did that. And then,
Mike
yeah.
Keenan was at the tryout
Yeah, he was at the tryout. Yeah, yeah.
for
Yeah, for Team
Heritage
China.
guys. Like,
Yeah, I know.
and they were in Canada looking for guys and put on a skate, and Mike Keenan's there.
Pretty much, yeah. Just because the Cologne Red Star organization, this is when they kind of came into existence at the same time. And one of the time they had asked Mike Keenan to be like one of their head advisors and the head coach and GM for the team.
Gotcha.
So he was looking as from the national standpoint for the national team to look for heritage guys in the US and in Canada. So
And it's
basically,
going to help the Kunlun Red Stars too.
pretty much, yeah, that's kind of what they were going for, right? And yeah, so I got approached
And
by
that was your
them.
break, was going to one skate. You didn't even know where you're
Yeah,
going.
exactly, right? So, and at the
Huh.
time, I thought it was funny because I was like planning to get my, you know, go to the NCAA route. I was doing my SAT, prepping for that, and then got the opportunity to do this, and kind of, yeah, phone
That's
call
cool.
turned into all this, which is super cool.
It is
But
cool. You've had a wild career and you're only 24 years old, man.
I know, yeah. So I mean, it's just the start, right? So
I was writing down things to talk about. Like, man, this is an interesting path because like that's how this
yeah,
exists. Is everybody's path is different, and man, yours is
totally.
different than anybody. So you go to
Yeah,
that skate, you do the school year. How do you
yeah.
end up going to, well, it looks like a junior team in China?
Yeah. So at the time, how it works in Russia is they have like their MHL league, which is basically their major junior league.
Okay,
Back in the day, you know, remember when they had those subway series between Team Russia
and
and
then
Team Canada with the
yeah,
dub and those guys? And the Russian people that were playing for their national team in that tournament were basically comprised of the MHL players. So that league was basically like their junior affiliation to the KHL.
yeah,
So
and
they've
that's
got
where
the
you got to go.
yeah. So I played a year there.
How'd
After
that get set up, Mike Keenan?
Yeah, through Mike Keenan. Yeah, just because Mike was basically there, and I think, in all honesty, if he wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have believed anything they told us. Right, pitching the idea to us.
Yeah,
So
that makes it
yeah,
real.
so I know, yeah, but yeah, it kind of went from that, and then him to inviting us to like their tryout or like training camp out in Finland, like 2 weeks later, and so I ended up dropping everything and did a camp there, met the head coach for their MHL team, which is their major junior league, and he liked what he saw and basically signed a contract with them, and then I
Then
played a
you're moving
year.
to China.
Pretty much, yeah. Actually, our first year I lived in Riga, Latvia.
Yeah.
So we were based at Riga, Latvia, and then flying to was it Russia for the games, and that was like a huge deal. Just because for us it was like they had a lot of North American guys on the team, so it's like something obviously new for us, but at the same time it was so different just because of the travel and everything. You travel. I remember one time.
So
It was a
you're
great
with a
trip.
Chinese team in Riga, Latvia?
Yeah, we were basically a Chinese team comprised of North American and European players playing in for a Chinese team and playing in the Russian league. Yeah.
Jeepers. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I
This
know.
this is
It is.
first time for the shed to hear this stuff. I don't know these
I
leagues that
know.
well.
Yeah. So, well, this is what it was back in the day, right? And
Yeah.
so we had that the first year, and we would travel like I kid you not. One of the times we had to travel to play 2 games, and it took almost 26 hours to travel from Latvia just to play a game out in like the suburbs of Moscow. You
And you
know,
only played one game? Like you just played one and left?
yeah. Well, they how it works in the MHL, you play 2 games back to back.
Right.
So we would go there just to play 2 games, and we'd fly in like 2 days before the game, play those two, rest for a day, play the 2 games back to back, and then fly right after the game. And it's like it was ridiculous.
26 hours?
Yeah, 26 hours because we had to fly from Latvia to Moscow and then take a bus ride to wherever we were going. The smallest
Jeepers.
city outside. Yeah,
That's long. I remember
ridiculous.
from Western Michigan having to go to Alaska, and I'm like, I can't
Oh
believe
yeah,
I'm playing in a league where like I
yeah,
actually have to go this far to play a hockey game.
yeah. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. Even my second year playing juniors, I played for the Heilongjiang MHL junior team, and we were based in a city called Harbin, which is like northern China, and we would have to fly from Harbin to Beijing, Beijing to Moscow, and then Moscow to wherever we were playing our games. It was
No.
just ridiculous. Oh yeah, and this is all obviously just because we're the junior team. There's not a whole lot of funds for us, so they would fly us all like economy, and
Yeah,
you're stuck in a tiny little seat flying like that. It was ridiculous, honestly.
that is
But
ridiculous. And
it
I
was,
it looks like those teams are no longer active, and it makes sense.
yeah,
They're
well,
not
yeah,
doing that anymore.
pretty much. I honestly, I think they only had the junior team or program for like maybe 2 3 years, and then they kind of disbanded pretty
Well,
much.
it didn't look like your squad was that good
No.
because I don't have to look at my notes. There was a dude on your team that was minus 77.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was ridiculous. Honestly, I
Oh,
remember,
jeepers. That
yeah,
can't be that much fun, man.
no, especially as a goalie, we'd get like 50 plus shots a game. It was ridiculous. And we had to play back to back games every time.
Oh
It's just
man, that would have
like,
been tiring.
oh no, super tiring. You're playing like 50 games or 40 something games a
So
season.
on the life side of things though,
Yeah.
like can you speak Chinese?
Honestly, I've lived in China for 2 years, playing for a Chinese team for like what 6 7 years there, and I mean I tried to learn, but it's such a complicated language. And
Yeah.
even when I was younger, just because of how Chinese works, my grandmother on my mom's side, she speaks Cantonese. So Cantonese is like the lower part of China. They speak the Cantonese language,
Yeah.
but in northern China they speak Mandarin. But now the government's wanting everybody to speak Mandarin, right? So
Oh, then the people
normally,
that speak Cantonese won't like that.
well, exactly. Usually, it's mostly the older generation that speak Cantonese, so which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, now so I'm trying to learn Mandarin, and I'm still kind of trying, but it's like it's an entirely different language. And I know a little bit of Cantonese, but I think more understand and speak Chinese. But it's yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I moved to Germany, and I
yeah,
mean, that isn't that big of a culture shock for me, really. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I was in beer tents and like, you know,
Mhm.
I felt like I fit right in, but the language, I
Yeah.
had a heck of a time with it for a long time. And when
Oh
I
yeah.
look at that and learning that, I'm like, well, that is nothing like learning Mandarin. I mean,
Yeah. Or even like Russian too. I mean,
right,
that's the thing in Russia is that no one speaks English at all. Only like the younger generation, but barely,
right.
which is super surprising. And like in China, everybody speaks English, so you
Is
could
that
get
right?
around with broken English, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I mean, it makes good story, that's for sure. But
Man.
yeah,
So you move over there then, and like, what you're playing for a junior team? Are you like, what, are you in an apartment on your own, or what are you doing?
yeah. So the first year they had all of us living in a hotel, pretty much.
So
Basically,
there's a bunch of North Americans together.
oh yeah, well, a bunch of North Americans and European guys were all living in a hotel, the whole team, pretty
Oh,
much.
that sounds fun.
Yeah, so it was fun, and we got to like leave our gear there and our clothes and stuff like that in our own room. So it was basically like a hotel
Right.
that provided food and stuff. So, and then my second year, they got us living in like kind of like a university campus kind of deal. That's where they had us. So, which is kind of different because you're around a lot of students. So it was kind of weird, but
Doesn't sound that bad.
no, it wasn't that bad. Actually, the location of or the university campus where we were staying was like right across from the rink, so everything was super easy to get around to. And yeah, I mean, living situation was definitely fun. You know, going
Yeah.
around with the guys, they're all
Living
the
around
same.
universities is fun.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
um, well, what are the barns like in China, like for hockey arenas?
Oh, I mean, they're probably a little bit better now than when I was over there my first year in China, in like northern China. Hockey is just so new, you know, for the most part, and it's one of those things that I guess it's so humid, so there's a lot of like humidity in it, and you'd have fog like
Mm,
every day, you know, during the practice, and sometimes it'd get better, but you could honestly, we had practices and I couldn't even see like 8 feet in front of me, you know, and then
yeah.
you would see a guy skating to the fog and shoot the puck, and I'm like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I had a we had a game canceled and we went from Germany all the way to Switzerland to
yeah,
play an exhibition game and we
mhm,
bus all this way all day long and then we get there and it's a sweet old barn and
yeah,
then after the first period it got so foggy we had to cancel the game and we had to
yeah,
bus all the way home and not even play them.
yeah. We've had a couple games that had to get canceled like that too. Even like the another funny story actually is that my first year playing pro hockey, I was 19 playing the VHL, and that year we were in Beijing, and just because of how hockey is so new, they wanted to introduce the sport, but no one wanted to go. So we'd have like zero fans or not that many people that would come, right?
Right.
So the club would actually basically pay fans to come to games, give them money to come to the games, so it would look like we have more fans on, you know, when they televise the games, right, in Russia or wherever in Europe. And it was just absolutely crazy. Even when we were there, our KHL team was kind of the same deal. When we played at home in Beijing, they would bring in people and they would say, "Oh, come watch hockey. We'll give you some money for it." And it was just absolutely ridiculous. Some things that they would
Really?
do. Oh yeah,
That's not a
but
very good business model.
no, it's not, right? But there was a bunch of things just that weren't really right. But I mean, I get the whole idea of wanting to introduce the
And
sport.
trying to get it going and you had to put some money in to
Exactly,
get it
right?
going, I guess, right?
For sure, right? So I know, yeah, and there was some games that would come. There would be a lot of like expats, a lot of like North American or European people, expats that would come to watch our games, which was fun because I actually knew what they were talking about, right?
Yeah.
But you have, like the fans cheering when we get scored on, you know, the home team, and they're supposed to be cheering, you know, for us, right? And it was just, yeah, it was a big mess, you
They
know.
that
Uh,
I mean, it trying to get hockey started in a country that
yeah.
it's not common would be hard, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's why I think in a way it was kind of a cool experience, you know, being in China and, you know, basically teaching a sport, you know, to Chinese people, right?
Yeah.
Those
Well,
stand
and
up.
they did have that China Dragons team, right? Because I had a few
Yeah,
buddies that played on that team,
yeah.
and they had a few fellows that were close to -77 too.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. Back in the day when they had that in the Asia League, yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I feel like China, the government wants to kind of push to, obviously hockey being the biggest sport, right? In winter sport. So they wanted to really push for it and they were putting a lot of money into it, funneling into it, but
It
It was
just
just
wasn't
I don't
going
know.
well.
Yeah, they just honestly they weren't really doing it right. Even now, it's kind of
Well, you need hockey people figuring out how to hockey too, right?
oh yeah, for sure. But even the team now, the KHL team, how it's based in Moscow, doesn't really make any sense. But I mean, overall, growing more, and it's after the Olympics now. People are more aware of it, which is really cool. But it's still you gotta figure it out the grassroots level, right?
Well, while we're right there, we may as well segue right into that. You're an Olympian in my shed tonight.
Yeah, yes, sir.
That's
Yeah.
wild, dude. How fun was that?
Oh, super. I think it's the most surreal experience that you could imagine, honestly. And then yeah, and then obviously my first Olympic game was against Team Canada too, right?
That's
So
cool.
very cool. Yeah. It's funny because like a month before I got invited to basically play and train with the Team Canada for the Channel One Cup. So the tournament that they do overseas in Europe, and I was actually based out of Moscow that year. And yeah, so I got to meet all the Canadian guys and basically practice and train with them for a few days. And I couldn't play any games just because I had ties with China, right? But
Yeah,
the Chinese Olympic Committee basically allowed me to practice with them, which is pretty cool. But
yeah.
then for the Olympics, they basically when I played against them, it was all the guys that I was training with for like those few days. So it was kind of that surreal moment, training with them and then being the
Playing
opposite
them. Yeah.
side of them. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it was funny for me in the World Championships. I was watching all my
Yeah.
fellows from Team Great Britain play Canada, and
Oh
like
yeah.
there were Canadians playing them, and they were my
Yeah.
Brits, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. It's a funny thing. I think for guys who have like some kind of heritage background with another country, and then to play with that
Them.
other country,
Oh
it's
yeah.
a cool experience for sure.
And would that game have been like I don't know if I watched it. Would it have been televised back home and everybody at home got to watch you play in the
Oh,
Olympic?
probably. Yeah. I mean, like any Olympic game is most likely televised for
Yeah.
sure. So, which was
Um,
pretty cool. But
uh,
obviously, with the time change, probably difficult.
right.
I had a lot of friends and family back home who would watch it, and they would have to wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to watch it live.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Time change is a bugger. It works well for
yeah,
the shed though, because there's hockey guys everywhere, and I could
yeah,
use the time zones to my advantage when I get a window to talk.
yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Yeah,
And you're out in Vancouver right now, but the
yeah.
Olympics. So you played Canada. I saw you played in two games. Who'd you play?
Canada both games. So
They
the
won now.
first game I played was the full game. I got to start it against Canada, and then the second game also against Canada. It was more of an elimination game, and my goalie partner Jeremy Smith he got injured after like the first period, and so basically put me in, and I had to do the best I could, obviously to stop the door, right? So,
Right.
but
Jeremy Smith, I've heard that guy's name. He's
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a good goalie. Right now, he's still playing the KHL for Kunlun, I believe, and he's playing the American League, the Coast, I think, a little bit as well. But yeah, he's a good goalie, good guy too. Yeah,
um well, let's see here. Where are we at now? We kind of just jumped
uh,
around, didn't we?
jumped around here.
Now I'm all confused.
Yeah,
Here's a question for you, just
mm,
because we discussed COVID happening.
yeah,
Were you there when like it all started?
yeah. I was actually in China in
Right.
Beijing
Yeah.
that year. Yeah, yeah. It was kind of crazy because like when the whole breakout was happening, I mean China's such a big city and there's such a big population. So
Yeah.
it's always busy, right? And all of a sudden now they're putting on, TV and stuff like that in English and in Chinese saying that it's a lockdown. So the whole street everywhere was nobody on the streets. And we had
Going from
during
people everywhere to nothing.
exactly. So super weird. And during that time, our team was going to like an away trip for like a couple of weeks in Russia. So the whole plan was for us to go to Russia and basically come back. But now with the restrictions and the lockdown in China, we weren't going to come back. So they basically told us to pack up all of our stuff from our apartments and our hotels and stuff, and basically get on a bus, and then we're all going to fly to Moscow, and we're going to play in Moscow for the rest of the season, which is the next like month and a bit. Yeah. So it
And
wasn't
then so you
ideal.
finished that season in Moscow?
Yeah, no, we actually finished the season in Moscow and in Russia. We were playing out of VDS's rink, which is
Yeah.
like the far end of Moscow, right? So we were playing in their rank, and yeah, it was super. I mean, weird with all the lockdown restrictions and everything, and flying in and out. But
So then
yeah, it
did
was
you go home then at any point? Back to
yeah,
Canada?
we actually had our we had like a Olympic training camp more or less that year. So we had to fly to Korea, play the South Korean national team for a couple exhibition games. So towards the end of the year, we flew there. I played a couple games there, and then basically flew home from Korea. Yeah.
Okay. Man, you've done some traveling, eh?
Oh yeah, I was actually looking at it because I have like a globe in my room back home here, and I would write down every single country I've been to, and I think it's been like 21 or 22 countries I've flown to, or at least been to at least.
And
So
you're only 24.
yeah, and just turned 24, yeah, or pretty much.
I think when I was done, there was a day I was bored and I just kind of jotted down the ones we went to. One's
Yeah,
like where you actually got out of the airport, not like a stopover.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I think when I was done, I was at like 29.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think hockey, it's one of those sports that, well, especially when you're in Europe, how everything's so
Europe,
close
yeah.
and it's cheap, right, to get around. You go for a weekend or whatever, and it's nice, but
Oh, and every
definitely a lot of
country is different too, and they're all right there. It's weird.
sure, yeah. They all got their little cultural nuances and stuff, but
They do,
so cool.
yeah. So you've done a lot of traveling. Where's your favorite food?
Favorite food? Oh, I mean, honestly, I grew up around a lot of Chinese food, so and I still do love Chinese food. So I gotta say, Chinese food is probably definitely up there.
So when we're
For
talking Chinese food,
yeah.
is Chinese food in China actually like Chinese food here?
Well, honestly, I think it depends on like which restaurant you go to and what you're
Looking for?
looking for exactly, and how like
What's your favorite Chinese dish?
oh, I don't know. We have this thing called dim sum. If you ever been to it, it's like a brunch thing, and it's kind of a variety of different kind of meat and vegetables, and kind of steamed and fried stuff. And it's one of those things that you go like every Sunday. We would go to as a family,
That
and
sounds good.
oh, it's really good. Yeah. Well, next time I'm in Ontario, we've got to go here.
Yeah, dim
Uh,
sum. So yeah, where you're coming in Ontario is literally like 15 minutes from where I grew up in Elmira, Ontario. And
okay. Yeah.
so like I grew up hanging around that school because my parents rented out some rooms to some students, and I was the fixer-upper guy like through high school and stuff, cutting
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
grass, tarps
Oh,
off.
nice. Right on. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been around that school a lot, so I know exactly where you're going. I know where the restaurants are.
Yeah, no, I know there's a lot of restaurants now. I know it's a completely like university town down there in Waterloo, but
Waterloo and Laurier both.
yeah, Laurier. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what made you decide that? You're in the KHL and now you're going
Yeah.
to Canadian University.
Well, honestly, I think it was more or less it was a hand to do with what's going on right now politically in Russia, right, with the war going on and stuff, and just wanting to get out of Russia. Just
Yeah.
because of families, ties with that. And then, yeah, I mean, I got offers with my agent to stay in Europe, but I just honestly wanted to come back to North America and kind of make that transition. So we were talking to some coast teams and stuff, but yeah, I mean, overall, it was just a decision to go play U Sports for like a year or two, get the feel. My agent said it'd be a great opportunity, get a lot of games, and
Yeah.
make that transition, right? Since I'm still young enough to do that.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. And hopefully be the starter and play
yeah.
tons of games, right? Because I mean, in the KHL and stuff, it's going to be tough to get in games when you're at low 20s, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, but we'll see. I mean, they definitely. I know the goalie coach over there, Dave Delecki. So he's a good guy, and my goalie coaches here in Vancouver know him. That's kind of the tie that I had with Laurier, and they got a good program. And I went over there in like December. I had a red shirt for a little bit, and for like a semester, and now I'm kind of going back in August to prepare for next season.
Oh, that sounds exciting, man. So what are you taking at school?
I actually
You're going
graduated.
for the hockey, aren't you?
Pretty much, yeah, more or less. But I actually graduated university in 2021. I did a degree in project management, so it's
Yeah.
like business construction. Because my family has like a construction painting company, so yeah, I've got ties with that as well. So yeah, I'm right now. I'm kind of taking a bunch of classes I think more or less that I'm interested in. I took like financial accounting, which I thought was interesting, but it was like online. It was like
Did you?
super difficult. Oh yeah, it's super
I
difficult.
couldn't get into that accounting stuff. It's
No,
not
no.
for me.
But
No.
yeah, like I thought maybe it'd be something that could be useful later on, right?
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
know. It is, but I don't like it.
I know exactly, right? So, but more or less, it's for
You may
hockey.
not believe me, but I have my MBA in project management.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, I did it when I was in Cardiff playing.
Ah, okay, yeah. Well, it's
Hmm.
definitely something to get. It's a good tool to have, right?
It definitely helps you get out of the game,
Sure, yeah.
help you get your foot in the door somewhere.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Hmm. Well, when do you go?
Right now I'm looking for flights like mid-August, around the between the 12th to 16th of August. Right now, go back to Waterloo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Then it's time to
yeah,
get ready for this
coming
big
up.
season. So you're training and skating all the time, and when D
Yeah,
saw you were coming on, he said, "Great dude, total pro." Just so you
yeah.
know what Dees thinks of you.
Ah, okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I try,
Well, you may
but
as well,
yeah.
right? You only get to play for so long.
Well, exactly, right? I mean, impressions matter, I think, in all honesty, at the pro level, right?
It
Everything
really
matters.
does. What people say about you around the game is what it's all
Sure.
about.
Exactly, right? So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, excited right now. Obviously, training, working with the family business. Family's important, right? So, spending time with them, and yeah, I mean, it seems like, on all honesty, time's flying by. It's already almost July, and it's like I feel like I just got here.
Oh, it's crazy how fast time goes, man. I moved here. It seems like not long ago, really,
Mm,
that I was a hockey player, and now all of a sudden I'll
yeah,
be coming up on 10 years with the same company.
wow,
Then I don't know. It's weird. Like,
yeah,
my kid just beat me in basketball, and like, I remember when he was like tiny and like
yeah.
just coming into this world. Now he's beating me at basketball, and then I can't
Oh,
walk because my
geez.
knee's shot, and I'm like, what's
Uh,
happening? You know,
yeah, what's happening?
it was
Jeez.
the knee's fault.
Where did you play around? I know you played obviously in Cardiff in the UK. Was it?
Germany for 6 years and Denmark for a year.
Oh, okay, nice. Those are
Yeah.
good leagues. Germany's good. I mean,
Yeah, I
obviously.
was in the second league.
Yeah.
Mucked her up in the second league.
Yeah. Bell
Yeah.
two. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was a Deutsche Meister one year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we did win in Denmark and Cardiff. We won a trophy too.
Yeah.
Winning's fun. But you had a couple tough teams, man. Those have been some long years.
Oh yeah. Really long years. Honestly, like my second year playing junior in Harbin, northern China, is we played. I think I played like 45 games, and the back to back really hurt just because you're
Oh,
exhausted. You got to play back to back, right? And you're
yeah.
getting like 40 peppered with shots, 40, 50 shots a game. Yeah,
But
it's definitely
so I got one though.
fun.
Instead of that, let's talk about something fun. You won the
Yeah.
gold medal with China, your first
Oh
time
yeah,
on the
that
team.
was fun for sure. Yeah, I mean that was our first. Obviously besides the Olympics, my first opportunity, playing for the national team and getting the opportunity to win gold for them was super big, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
helping get promoted, just because before that they have never been into Division 1B, so getting that promotion was huge, right? And that year we had training camp. I believe it was in. Oh, I gotta think here. I think it was in. I think Croatia is where we played the Worlds, and then we had training camp around there, one of those countries. But yeah,
One of those countries, man. You've traveled. You're 24.
yeah, yeah. I can't remember. Sorry, off the top of my head here, but yeah, it was definitely fun. Play all against the Croatian national team and Israel, and
Oh,
you
so
know,
you would have been mucking it up against my boys,
yeah.
Evgeny and Mikhail Kuznetsnikov.
Oh yeah. Oh,
They
your
play
buddies
for
with.
Team Israel. Yeah, one of
Ah,
them,
okay.
they're twins, and one's now the coach, and the other one's the captain.
Yeah, yeah.
I played with Mikhail in Germany.
Oh, right
Now he's the
on.
captain of
Okay.
Team Israel,
My
and the
hero,
Shed
okay.
was ranked number one in
Mhm.
Israel. Like, it's been like for a month we have been. Winning's
Wow.
fun. Yeah,
Uh,
because of those two guys.
yeah,
Mhm.
probably. Big influence over there, right?
Oh, they are. I mean, when you get the coach of the national team on, people listen, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Growing the game. There's growing.
you played again. You would have been playing again. That's a small world, man. You would have played against my buddies.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now I know that.
Yeah. Now next time China mucks it up against Israel, you'll have to be like, hey boys.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, boys. Yeah,
So Israel, Croatia,
yeah.
and you just
Um,
is a round robin, you beat everybody so you finish first.
yeah, pretty much round robin. And then the next year when we played Worlds, we got promoted, and we were playing. Oh, I gotta think here. I believe it was. Yeah, I'm lost now. Yeah, off
That's
the top of
okay.
my head, I
Don't
can't
worry
remember.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You won gold and you got promoted, and then you're like a legend of China.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was definitely fun going back to China with gold and kind of,
Did
showing.
anybody care when you guys won gold if they weren't that
No,
into hockey?
no.
Really?
No one in the hockey community in China, besides that, no one knew, cared more or less, right?
Oh, but it doesn't matter. Winning anything is as fun as it gets. Any league, right?
Oh
It's a
yeah.
gold medal. You got that thing still, right?
Yeah, still got it. Yeah, which would it's what counts anyways.
Yeah, I lost the one I won in Germany,
Yeah,
Can't
you lost
can't
it.
can't take care of my things.
Uh
Mm.
yeah. Gotta
Kept a
take
couple
care
things,
of
but
that.
I lost the German medal.
Mm,
I did have the thing for a while, but no strap,
yeah.
and then I lost the
Uh
thing.
lost somewhere in storage in the back there.
It's I
Yeah.
don't know where it is, but it's not back there with my other things. I'll find it someday, right? Jeepers, we've jumped around so much. Poster pics brought to you by Free Band Designs. Selfie looks like a goalie coach with you and another goalie. Who's
Yeah.
that? Is that your goalie coach?
That was my goalie coach and Pyotr Kochkov that was in that. Well, I was practicing with him during one of the summers. Right now he's with still with Carolina's organization. But
Okay.
yeah, I trained with one summer with him in Moscow and then our goalie coach in that. Yeah.
Um, Next one is when you're a little bugger. Is that your brother beside you?
That is my brother when I was like first playing hockey, like I think it was like hockey 3 or hockey 4
Were
back in
you
the day.
always a goalie right from the get-go?
And well, I mean, when you start playing hockey, you know how they have like transition to every sport or every position, and I think I more or less was a better backwards skater than forwards, and I always like kind of migrated to the net.
Yeah, so you just
Yeah,
stayed there.
yeah. So I kind of fell in love with the position and kind of fell in love with the idea of stopping people from scoring, right?
Yeah. Well, your next poster pick means a lot to me as a minor
Yeah.
hockey coach here because we won all Ontario, and my goalie had 9 shutouts by I forget when it was. It was like around Christmas. He already had 9 shutouts, and I got him
Yeah.
every shutout puck, and I'd tape it up
No
and put the
way,
date
really?
and like say first shutout, second shutout, third
Yeah,
shutout,
yeah.
and put who they were against. And he had like a whole pyramid of them up in his room. And
No
isn't
way.
it fun getting shutout pucks when you get a shutout?
It is fun when getting shut up packs. I know I've got in my room a stack of like just a bunch of them. I should do that and put it into like a pyramid and put it on the wall or something.
You should. That's
Yeah,
that's that's what Noxie
good
did.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goaltending wins championships, folks, and shutouts are fun.
yeah.
And you should get the goalies the pucks, even in pro, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, I hope people start listening to me over here. These teams I'm rooting for. I want some
Yeah.
shed guy selfies with shutout pucks. That's what
Oh
I
yeah.
want over here.
I'll post some shut up pucks and put it online there. You can
Yeah,
repost if you
yeah,
want.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Well,
get this
you
out
know,
there. Shutout pucks are fun for goalies if they earned it,
they
right?
are. They
And
are.
I do the same for hat tricks with my boys. The boys would get all fired up to get their hat tricks once they got 2 because they knew they'd get the puck.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Wow.
was fun seeing them walk out of the barn with their puck.
Oh yeah, it is. I gotta make a mental note of that when I go to Laurier to do all that. Yeah,
Right?
get little shut up pucks. I'm gonna insist it so our goalies can have it. Yeah,
And hat trick pucks.
and the hatcher pucks.
If you're
Okay, yeah,
getting shutouts and hat tricks, you know what, folks? You're doing
games.
you're running amok, and you're usually winning if they're shutouts and hat tricks, right?
Oh yeah,
So last year you guys got bronze. That was with
yeah,
Dees.
yeah. That's what D's. Yeah. So that
Be
year,
better, Dees. You probably would have won gold if the skates were sharper, eh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that year we had it was in Croatia. So we played, or not in Croatia. It was in Estonia. So we played the Estonian national team over there, and yes, Estonia, Serbia, China, obviously Ukraine was in our division, and Japan.
So
So
Ukraine won.
No, we it was Japan that played Ukraine in the finals. Yeah. So
Oh,
we
okay.
beat Ukraine, but then lost to Japan. And
Mm.
yeah, in all honesty, I think I should have played the Japan game, but we would have maybe had a better shot. But I mean, in all honesty, it's done with, right? So
Yeah, but you're a
uh,
competitor and you wanted the net.
I know, yeah, just the
I
net
get it.
once it,
I never played enough ever.
yeah,
There's a couple years actually I probably played too much and I
yeah.
was like, okay, actually, you want me back out there? I can't even get up.
I don't know. But that year, actually, when we had Worlds in Estonia, we had our training camp a month prior in Italy, in like northern Italy, in like the Italian Alps for like a month. So that was super cool, and everything's paid
That
for.
would be.
Oh yeah, so we did like a road trip down to like Venice and for like a weekend, and then go back up to the Alps. And I was doing some skiing up there. It was amazing, honestly. But
You're 24.
yeah, yeah, I'm
Uh,
24. Living
Venice
life.
is an interesting town, eh? It's like the rivers are the roads, but like I couldn't believe how much garbage was around the town.
Oh
There's
yeah, there
a
is.
lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
garbage.
yeah. Oh yeah, there is. I mean, even like we were staying in like northern Italy. We were in Cortina, so that's
Yeah.
where they're having the Olympics, right? And it was like relatively clean kept, but for the most part, it was kind of a little bit dirtier some areas. But it was, I mean, everybody's super nice, right? Everybody kind of gets along, super welcoming, friendly, right? But
Oh, there's a lot of good people around the world, and you've been
oh,
around the
there is,
world,
right?
haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's more good, I think, in the world than bad.
There is. There definitely is.
Definitely is.
Um, and there's fun everywhere. You just got to find it.
Yeah,
The other poster pics that are really cool are you with the Olympic rings. There's one of you sitting on the boards with the Olympic rings, and the other one is when you're catching a puck and the Olympic rings are on the ice.
yeah, yeah. Those are definitely, I think, memories that are going to be edged in my mind, I think, for the rest of my life. Those
Y-
are definitely things. Even I got interviewed after the game and against Team Canada, the first game, and I had, I believe it was Eric Stahl behind me, and it was super cool. Just obviously being a kid, watching him play in the NHL, and then now competing against him, and
Yeah.
then doing an interview, and he's right behind you, you know. So
And this is all from going to a random skate when you were like
yeah,
16.
yeah. You just never know. I mean, that's, I think, in all honesty, the biggest kind of thing I've learned from this whole experience is that you really can't take anything for granted, right? And how one opportunity could lead to another, and that you just got to make the most of everything, right?
You really do. Yeah,
Really.
it's true
Life,
though. And it's like when
life
life gives you
short.
lemons, you got to make lemonade, right?
Exactly. Yeah, life's too short just to sit around for that, right?
Yeah, you got to go do it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, it's like I was heading to the coast and I thought I was doing something for the year and I was on my way there. I was skating with Western Michigan and then
Mhm.
got the call from Germany and said, no, not yet, not this year. And then they called me 2 weeks later and I changed my mind. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go. And I just
Yeah.
like turned around and went to the airport instead of like towards Florida. And then all of a sudden I was going to Germany and I was like, life changed that fast, right?
Yeah. Super fast. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I never came back for like 9 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you are coming back to North America, so I guess you're used to all this traveling around, eh? You just mix
But
in
yeah,
wherever you're going.
I think it's funny because when I went to Waterloo back in last year in December, from like December to April, I was in Waterloo because I had redshirt, right? And I was talking to the guys, and the farthest we have to travel now is a bus ride for like maybe 5 hours, and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
the breeze, more or less,
And they'll
from
be
what.
complaining about it.
Yeah,
Well, I
but I
can't
mean,
believe we got to go there. It's 5 hours away.
yeah, 5 hours away. Oh, so far, yeah.
It's all
Uh,
perception in life, right? It's all what you,
it is
it
totally.
is. Yeah,
It really is. But
it's
it's
all
definitely
what you
gonna be
think
a
going
fun
into it.
experience. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun experience. I think being back home in North America and being surrounded by guys and understanding the other team when they chirp me and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it's hard when people chirp you and you don't know what they're saying, right? You don't even know if they're being
Like,
funny or not.
no, no, and I just laugh. I'm like, oh, he's probably complimenting me or something. But
When someone chirps me, I want it to be good, right? I at least want to like
yeah,
think it's funny. When guys chirp you and it's like, come on, be better.
I know. Oh, exactly, right.
No,
Yeah, you don't
especially
want.
like Germans trying to trash talk you in English or something, and you're like,
Uh,
all right, bud.
and it's Yeah, or broken English. Oh, it's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes they can be good at it. Andy just had a good joke with me in the shed when he just came on. It was funny for a Swedish native speaker.
Yeah.
Um, Another one of your poster picks, if I know a bit when I look at hockey guys, is it Shane Doan coaching Team Canada?
Yeah, he was our GM that when I got invited there. He was the GM and
Is that when you're training with them?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, Shane Bowen and the head coach was Claude Julien.
was that you in the net?
Yeah, that's me in the net. Yeah.
I thought it was a Team Canada jersey on that guy.
That is a Team Canada jersey. That's before I went transition to China here.
Right.
Uh,
Well, you were practicing with them, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
oh, that's funny. Um, do you have any questions for me while I try and figure out what to say next?
Oh, obviously you played what NCAA? You went to Western Michigan.
Yeah.
How did you get into hockey and everything like that? Let's hear about your
Ooh,
story here.
my story. How I got into hockey was
Yeah,
both my parents were not hockey people, and
same with me. Yeah,
yeah, they put me in because their friends' kids were joining hockey, and then I got really into it.
yeah,
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 really, really into it, and
yeah.
yeah, I still really am, and I don't even play now. I just talk about it,
Yeah,
and coach. I
yeah.
got a team again, and that's all I need is a team in my life.
It's in was it King Carton that
Kincardine, Ontario, Canada.
Iron
The all
Ontario?
Ontario champions.
Oh wow, well good
Hmm.
for you guys, eh?
Yeah, no big
Love
deal.
winning, yeah, no big deal.
16-0 in the playoffs, my fellas went.
Wow,
It was
you know,
incredible, man. It was the funnest ride ever. And
yeah.
yeah,
What's something
man.
to be proud of?
Well, it's
Wow.
so cool for me, man. Like every day, just driving
Yeah,
into town, I drive by something. I'm like, there's an all
yeah,
Ontario champion. There's an all Ontario champion. I'm like, oh man, this is
yeah,
awesome. I get to see them all the time. It's like you win
yeah,
in pro hockey, you win, and then you all fly your separate ways and never see each other
yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we're-
totally different.
it's
Is that
totally different.
are you coaching your kids' team, or is that
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So he was a first year. It's 2 years together. So he was a first year last year, and I was a co-coach. And then next
uh,
year I'm coaching, and he'll be a second year. So it'll be like pretty much a whole different team. We'll have 3 returning players. So,
uh,
but
well, it'll be interesting coming off a win here. Maybe go back to back here.
right with a whole new
Oh,
squad, and then it's like, whoa, like, and
I
then
think it's
they're
fun.
talking about this being the last year of the Kincardine Canucks because they're like
Yeah,
amalgamating. So you imagine
yeah,
going back to back and being like, well, it's been fun.
yeah. Hats off. Yeah,
But no, yeah, it would be pretty fun to go back to back. And then this year, like, because they're all the kids my son's age, like they're the
yeah.
kids now that I have been with since they were like little, and I'm pretty
Wow,
excited.
bro. Wow, that's awesome.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
obviously, you like love hockey so much. You got a podcast going, and then the
Honestly, I hated it for years, dude. I came back and I hated hockey. I hated
really,
where, yeah, I did. I came back to a new town, no contacts, knees
mhm,
shot,
yeah,
have my education, but
yeah. What are you gonna do?
I resented where it put me in life and my family in life
Yeah,
for years until I got my new bed made, and then
yeah,
life was better. But then once I got coaching,
mhm,
really turned me around, and doing this is like, whoa, like I still do love hockey and I'm still a hockey guy, and
yeah,
I want to hockey, and now I hockey all the time.
yeah,
Even at work, I'm like still being a hockey guy.
yeah. I think it's the biggest thing when guys play pro hockey. It's what do you do after? Just because of how
When
short
you
it
you
is.
can't forget who you are. Like you can't. I tried to be someone else. I tried to be the business guy with the MBA, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this isn't me. Like
it's not good. Yeah,
I like to smile and have fun, and like
yeah, for sure.
I like work hard, but also have fun doing it.
Yeah, wow. And obviously, like, how did you get into like doing the podcast? How did this start?
Well, I got invited back to Cardiff for a Wally night, and
Oh, okay, yeah,
had a lot of fun. Like I remembered who I used to be and like being the hockey guy. And then I
yeah,
came back and I started listening to more like hockey podcasts. And the ones I was listening to were all about like NHL superstars. And
yeah,
I was like, this isn't like, I don't care about you guys flying around on jets and, doing all this stuff that like us normal guys don't do. And I was like, my friends have interesting stories. It's like when I
Yeah.
got to go on a couple guys' podcasts, and I was like, so if they can do it
Yeah.
and they can do it, like why
Why
can't
can't
I
you
do
do it?
this? Like
Yeah, exactly.
just like is like when I was a hockey guy and I got to the HL and didn't believe I could do it when I'd seen other guys do it. It's like you have to believe you can do it. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, why can't I finally be a guy that can do something? Why can't I do it? And then I just did one, and I invited
Yeah.
back Luke Pigott, one of my best buddies in Cardiff, and we shot the breeze, and I got to catch up with an
Mhm.
old friend, and I was so in love with getting to see all my old buddies.
Yeah.
And then I've met new buddies, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. I don't know how to stop,
Yeah.
but I
It's
have
a
no
it's
time
a
to talk to anybody. Now my kids go to bed at 10 at night, and I'm like, well, who, like, what?
What are you
I
gonna
used
do
to be able to
now?
start these at like 8:30 at night. Now I'm waiting till 10.
Ah.
It's horse manure.
Uh,
Kids, go to sleep. I
yeah.
want to talk.
Yeah. Come on. Jeez. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny you say that. I think in all honesty, it's more of like a mindset of like, what do you do after, and figuring out putting the puzzle pieces together. You got to do something that's fun, and enjoying it, being like you said, imagine,
You have to,
recreating.
man, it's weird for me once you get into the real world. And then,
Yeah,
like, you can go to the grocery store at the end of the day and you see
yeah, yeah,
which people had like a really, really long day at work. Like, they
yeah,
are tired. And then you see the people that are walking around and they're still pretty fresh at the end of the day. And like,
yeah,
whatever you choose to get into
yeah.
is what you
It's
do
that
all day.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's like even talking about, well, obviously the mindset of it. Like right now, I have a sports psychologist that I work with, and uh, I'm kind of doing like mentoring, like with younger goalies and younger hockey players as well, like on my spare time. And it's funny because I tell them my story, obviously, and they're like, "Wow, it's inspiring, for this younger generation." And in a way, it's also like, if I can do it, you can do it.
That,
So it's
yeah.
something that helping the community a little bit, which is fun as well.
I totally agree with you though. And it's like, I don't really tell the fellows I'm coaching anything about me, but like then I go out and play with them, and then like
Yeah.
eventually by the end of the season, I had like half the squad following me, and I was like, oh dear, I better
Yeah.
clean it up around here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
For
like
sure, yeah.
it's fun for me to like I moved to this town, nobody knew who I was. Did
Mhm.
never would have guessed in a million years I was ever a hockey player with my physique.
Yeah,
And I'm 5'8", and then these kids realize that like this short, fat old guy did
yeah,
all this stuff in hockey, and I want to say to them, I'm like, so if I can do it, like, why can't you? Like,
yeah.
I know you're just
Mhm.
from Kincardine, Ontario, but I was just from Elmira, Ontario. Why
Uh,
can't you?
yeah, for
Right. And
sure.
you have to believe in yourself. And you say about a sports psychologist, I
Yeah,
think when there were times in my career, I really could have used someone to be like, man, just believe in yourself. They're calling you for a reason. They're asking for
yeah,
you to be there. Not, don't think all these other players this and woo woo. It's like they asked
oh, yeah,
you to be here. Go out there like you're
yeah,
supposed to be here.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a huge, I think, part of the game is the mental side, right? Especially like goaltenders, it's 90% mental, right? Dealing with the pressure and stuff like that. And I think it was important for me, my second year playing pro, finding a guy that was the right fit, that could help me with the mental aspect of my game. And yeah, I mean, makes a huge difference for sure.
So just curious question. So then this is a guy that you would have to pay on the side of like with the money you make, you pay him
Well, actually, right now, just because I'm working with him, obviously I work with him and I work kind of
for him.
for him, right? And
With the puppies. Yeah.
yeah, with the puppies, exactly. So more or less, I don't really have to pay him for that, but the situation we have got going, which is great for me, but definitely opens up more doors, possibly in the future, right after hockey,
Yeah,
where it
no,
goes,
for
right?
sure. And if it's something you're interested in and you
Oh
feel
yeah,
like you're helping
exactly.
people, right? Helping
Yeah,
people's
yeah.
fun.
It's funny because I actually talked to my mental coach, and he was talking about how everything we learn through hockey, there's so many life lessons, that apply to the real
Mm,
world, right?
there is
Dealing
no
with
doubt
pressure.
about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's like the biggest thing I think that anybody can take away from it. And I've got a bunch of buddies, when they were playing hockey, minor hockey with me, and we're all like, they're really good, and they end up quitting just because they couldn't deal with the pressure or like the external noise, and they realize they don't love the game anymore.
Right.
And like, yeah,
Well,
sounds like a
it's yeah, minor hockey is an interesting place because
for
I
sure.
you see so many different teams, right? Just in our little organization, there's,
Mhm.
16 different coaches.
Mhm.
And depending who you get can really change your season of what
Yeah,
it's like and the dynamic. And come the end of the season, how much you do enjoy playing hockey. And are you going to practice this summer because you like the sport?
exactly, right? Or even just like the politics involved with,
Mm,
sports,
the
right? It's tough.
noise.
The noise, exactly, right? I remember,
Oh,
like, even when I was younger playing minor hockey, in Coquitlam here, my hometown, we would have, like, parents gather for, like, family, team dinners and stuff like that, and parents would, like, gift iPads to the coach, and saying, "Oh, I want my
play
kid to."
my kid.
Yeah.
Man,
So
I'm still waiting for my first iPad. Come
yeah,
on,
it's
parents.
coming, it's coming.
I
Yeah,
felt so bad, man. I coached my daughter's team, an under nine gals
yeah.
house league squad the one year,
Mhm.
and there was a girl that had never played hockey before. We had a magical ride. She couldn't skate the first practice. Come the second half of the year, she scored her first goal. We were all in tears. It was a magical thing, but
Yeah,
I forget where I was going with that. Um, I have no idea, but it was
yeah.
seeing what was I talking about? I don't even know. I got sidetracked. I was
That's a
talking about
core
Breyer. She
memory,
came to the
yeah.
shed after she scored her
Yeah.
first goal. I know that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Oh, she did, okay, yeah.
yeah, but seeing kids get better and love the sport, and then going from the start of the year where you're not good at something, and come the end of the year you're scoring goals and like having fun, and then they want to do it again, right?
For sure,
But
yeah.
that wasn't what I was going to say about that story, and I can't remember it now.
It was lost in translation.
That's so sidetracked. Oh, one thing I was going to say though, because the reason I asked about the sports psychologist was when I was playing, and then I get into, I sign an AHL deal out of college, but I hadn't made money until then. So then the AHL deal isn't much, and it's not much money.
Mm,
And then I go to the second league in Germany, and it's, about the same as the AHL, whatever. And then I wasn't really making that much. So when I go home this summer, it's like, well, I want to pay a trainer a whole bunch of money to get
yeah,
me big and strong, because I'm like, well, I don't make that much to go pay some big fancy trainer. So I just did
yeah.
everything myself. I just worked out on my own.
Oh, yeah, I did the exact same thing. I, got all the equipment, put it in the basement, you got yourself a gym, right? And just
Yeah.
working with that.
Well,
I
yeah. And
mean,
then come the end of my career, I did have like a full gym that I
yeah.
don't use now.
Uh,
I think it's still down in the basement.
it's somewhere.
I haven't,
Yeah,
when people stopped paying me to exercise, I gave that stuff up a decade ago.
yeah. I know. I think honestly, that's kind of where I think towards the end of my career, who knows where things are gonna go. I feel like, in all honesty, it's one of those things that I just love the journey. Love the grind of it, and then that personal development.
Well,
Or,
the
I mean,
you,
who knows, right?
well, the
Who
personal
knows what's going on?
development stuff is like when I came back, not appreciating what hockey gave me and not the
Mhm.
life lessons it had given me, but it took me getting my foot in the door, but then getting to use the skills and like the teamwork, and then like know your role on a team.
Oh
Like if
yeah,
you're the fourth liner, be a
yeah,
fourth
yeah.
liner and just go out and muck it up. And
I don't know.
if you make it up to the second or first line, it's like, well, you better play well because you're up on the second and first line. And then,
Yeah, yeah.
and then sometimes you become like a coach. And then you're like, so do you guys have everything you need? Like,
Mhm.
I've been in that role. Like, do you have everything you need to go out and play well? Because whatever you need, I'll go get it. Because I don't need any excuses tonight.
Yeah. Honestly, you sound like a good coach, man. I mean, like,
I was talking
you
about the
have a
real
lot of.
world there.
Yeah.
I try to bring my hockey
Yeah.
and real life into the same thing. I feel like I'm a coach during the day and then
Mhm.
at minor hockey.
I think, in all honesty, those are the best kind of coaches, the ones that give real world advice. Like, I've had my fair share of coaches that are complete, a-holes, and then you
Ugh,
got guys you know, that are like the best, right? Like,
that
one of
you
my
go
years.
through a wall for.
Oh yeah, exactly, right? I had one of my years, I played when I was playing juniors, Steve Casper, he played in this show for a little bit. He was my head coach that year, and the guy used to be a teacher, so he was super knowledgeable about obviously the sport, but he just knew how to talk to us, right? Especially
Right.
the teenagers. We're teenagers, we're kids at this time. And it's important, getting to, you know, I guess on like a
Y-
mindset level,
Well,
and
for me, it's like, I don't know. I think I'm way too much for minor hockey, like to do this
yeah.
voluntarily, but like I really like care about these kids. Like come the
Oh
end of the
yeah.
year, like they're around this town, my best friends are under the age of 13. All
Mm-hmm.
like pretty well all of them,
All your
except
friends, eh?
I got my handful of guys, you know.
For sure.
But like, you know, you go through 6, 7 months together and you're seeing each other
Yeah.
3, 4 times a week and like you're trying to help each other
Yeah.
and you know, and
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
win together and then all of a sudden you're like
Yeah.
brothers for life.
Yeah. It's like a brotherhood,
It
really.
is. But
Yeah.
the hockey world is of all these good dudes that play hockey around the world, it's like that's how we're meeting tonight, you know?
Really, just sharing some good stories, having a chuckle about it,
Right? And then that's
Yep.
fun. And then I'm happier and then I got more energy at work tomorrow, right?
Mhm. For sure.
Just got to find the windows to do these, you know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's kind of funny because even like this morning when we were initially gonna do it, after obviously the time change for me, it was one of those things that I completely forgot about my hockey training this morning, and I kind of went,
That's
"Oh, oh
good.
shoot, I'm gonna text you."
That's what I want you to say in the summers that you want to come to the shed more than skate. That's
Yeah.
good. That's nice to
Yeah.
hear.
And here we are. I know. So made the time.
Uh, I remember when I was in Germany, because they would make us go over like early, and then they
Mm.
wouldn't even have ice. So
Yeah.
I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, well, you're gonna make me come and not skate for 6 weeks anyways. It's like, why am I gonna bring my equipment home? So I just left it in my apartment. And
Oh.
then apparently they were getting rid of that apartment and I had to move. So then they went to take my stuff out and saw my hockey bag sitting there. And I was like, yeah, sorry,
So
forgot
what
it.
did they do with it? They just put it in the arena or something?
They put it in the new apartment we went in, like
Oh,
just
they knew
down.
about it. Oh, they
Yeah,
moved it for you. Well,
they
that's good.
did. Yeah. Well, it was ready when I got back.
Yeah.
But you do
Wow.
skate quite a bit in the summer then?
Yeah, I mean, right now, this year is kind of one of those years that spending a little more time, obviously, with family, being away for so long, right?
Yeah.
And so, kind of working with the family business and juggling that plus
You're
mentoring.
learning the ropes, eh?
I know, learning the ropes and then mentoring these kids and then skating and in the gym. Yeah, so, yeah,
You're busy.
I'll be busy for sure. Busy.
Busy's better than being bored.
I know. Well, being productive, I think is a better word for it. But
That
yeah,
is right.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Productive. That's the word, not busy. Being busy isn't doing anything, right? It's being productive. Good
Oh
call.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that one thing like skating in the summer for me is I
Mm,
knew like in the city pockets, there's pro guys that always skate together, and then
yeah,
you find your crew and they all skate together. But like when you
pretty
live in
much.
the middle of nowhere and you don't have
Yeah.
people, and then you're like, well, I don't want to go skate by myself.
Yeah.
But I skated with Ryan O'Reilly last summer and helped him out when he
Okay.
didn't have anybody. And then he
Yeah.
let me bring my puppies. Well, now he's
Yeah.
not here, but now I've kept doing it with puppies, my
Yeah.
kids. Every Saturday morning, they got an ice time, and I
Yeah.
take a truckload. One of them's a goalie, and one of
Mm,
them's my son. And then I take a truckload. We all go skate for like an hour,
yeah.
have McDonald's breakfast, and head home. And then everybody likes hockey, and it's the summer,
Wow.
you know?
What a good day. Wow.
Yeah,
Like a good
that's
time.
my new loophole in the game to win. Is I'm already starting to train the puppies before.
Yeah.
Good
So
luck next
after,
season, other teams. What?
oh no, right? After your season when you were playing, would you go back to with King Cart or Elmira?
Well, we moved here the day I bought this house the day we signed with Cardiff for the first year. So
Okay.
we rented out while we went there for the 2 years
Mhm.
and then would come back and live here for the summers. But before that, we had a house in Elmira in my hometown.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
we go there for the summers.
So you're kind of traveling in between
But
training
then
when
every weekend we were up here in Kincardine because this is where the cottage
yeah,
was. So then we were like, well, if we're free agents out of the game, why don't we live by the lake and not
yeah,
drive there every weekend? And so
yeah.
that's
True.
what,
That makes sense. Yeah.
but yeah, then we had
Where
to
even is
start over from a whole new town with all new people, you know?
yeah, for sure. Where is even King Carton? I've never even heard.
It's,
Where,
oh man, it's huge. It's right on Lake Huron. So if you're out in
oh, okay,
Waterloo,
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
Lake
take the
Huron.
highway straight to the water.
Yeah, really? Okay, right by the water.
Yeah,
That's a good location.
I
Wow.
like water.
Yeah, I like lakes. Especially in Vancouver here. I mean, I live in the suburbs, and it's like a 10-minute drive to like the lake there, and
Yeah.
which is really nice. But the problem is it's always raining here. We joke how it's like Vancouver here, so which
Uh,
isn't the greatest. But I mean, it's nice for during the summers come back home at least, right?
we can
So
have some windy winters around here, but the
mhm,
summers are pretty high end. But I don't like telling
yeah,
people because we don't need that many tourists
Mm,
around here. So it
yeah.
actually isn't very nice here,
Uh,
folks. Don't listen to me. Um,
uh,
right? Anywho, um, do I have anything else? Let's see. The ski mountain one was brother, and is that who's the other? There's ski mountains
oh, that's
behind you.
my mom. That's in Whistler. I think it was for Mother's Day. Kind of wanted to fit that in just
Yeah.
because, yeah, family picture there. Yeah, my brother actually he played for the Canadian national team for water polo. He's also a
Water
goalie.
polo.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Water polo. He's got to swim
oh,
through a whole game and like
yeah,
fight for balls and everything.
actually tread water because he's the goalie, right?
He's
So
the goalie in that, and you're he's
uh,
the goal.
yeah, I think it's funny because I always joke with him how we're polar opposites. How he likes water and I'm on frozen water. You know,
Right.
yeah, but it's a crazy sport. When I was younger, I actually played water polo during the summers and then hockey in the winters. Kind of tread through
Really.
both of them, right?
So
So,
they got to like, don't they take shifts in that? Because you can't swim the
oh,
whole game.
I mean, yeah, it's basically like it's almost like a game of soccer, but in the water, right?
Well,
You
like
got the
I've
big
watched it,
concrete
like
net.
yeah, and it's like
Yeah,
I was a swimmer, until
yeah,
till puberty hit and stuff, and I didn't look good in the
yeah.
speedo and whatnot.
I
Um,
know.
but swimming's exhausting, and like those guys are also like fighting for balls and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to be in like insane shape to play water polo. I
I
know.
don't think I could have fit in that sport then.
No, especially just because when you play water polo, how you have to wear like multiple speedos because some guys like how it
They'll
works
pull
is
your
that
pants down.
oh yeah, they'll pull your pants down, they'll scratch you. If the ref doesn't see it, it's allowed. So guys will come out of the water like bleeding. And we're
Right.
like
Get
15,
away with
16
what you can
years
get
old.
away with, right? That's the
Oh,
game.
exactly, right? But yeah, and then one of the years my brother was actually my coach, which is yeah, it's a different story there in itself. But yeah,
So here's a
water polo.
random question, just because my
Yeah.
brain worked strange. Do
Mhm.
you wear jocks then?
No, 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 no jog, just the speedo and then the little
So some
cap for your
fellas
head.
could play dirty under the water then, eh?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
dear.
Before the games, they actually have to check your nails to make sure everybody's nails is like cut.
Cut,
Just because
yeah.
guys will. Oh, even with your when you cut your nails, you can still scratch somebody,
Oh,
right?
I could damage some
Like
people for
they'll like
sure. Yeah.
uppercut you under the water, and stuff like that. It's a violent sport. It's pretty dangerous, but it's
Right.
fun. I mean, if you get into it, but yeah, it's very
I think it's like any sport. If you're good at it and you win, it's fun.
yeah, it's fun.
I feel like if
Exactly.
I got in a game of water polo and I felt like I was drowning and there was some guy,
Mhm. Yeah.
beating me up under the water, I don't think I'd enjoy it.
Oh yeah. I think it's one of those sports that it's not super big in Canada. It's more of like an Eastern European thing. Like in Hungary,
Yeah,
it's super big, right?
right.
And yeah, I remember when I was playing water polo, we would get maybe a couple hundred fans that would come out to our games in the community, right? And it's like just to watch us play. And there would
Really?
all be like yeah, and there would all be Eastern European people just
Right.
because they're familiar with the sport, right?
Well, and it's
So
like when I went to Germany and I like, you don't realize because you just grow up in Canada and you think everybody just loves hockey
yeah.
and everything else is
Oh,
second. And then you
I
go to
know.
Germany and you're like, so
Yeah.
handball is the game we're putting on
The
TV every
national
night? And
sport.
it's like, I
Yeah.
understand football or soccer is number
Mm.
one and that's on. I knew that was coming. But now you're throwing handball at me and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know. I'm not getting
Different
into this yet,
sports.
you know?
Yeah. I know, right?
But
Yeah. But definitely a fun experience. I played for a few years water polo, but then just stuck
and
with
your
hockey.
your brother
Love
played on
more.
the national team?
Yeah, for the I think it was technically they were called the National Development Program that he played
Okay.
for Canada.
And does the
So
goalie ever get to just hang on the side or they got to stay swimming?
now they gotta stay swimming. Yeah.
Oh dear.
We yeah, keep swimming in the deep end above above the water
So
there.
if you're ever going to go back to a country again for a vacation this time and not play hockey, which one would it be?
Fiji, actually. Yeah.
You've been to
Fiji,
Fiji
small
too.
island. Yeah, I've been to Fiji. It's my mom was actually she's full Chinese, but she was born in Fiji. So I have relatives back there.
Okay.
And yeah, the weather there, just the atmosphere, everybody's super nice. And yeah, I
Well,
mean
when you're living in a nice place like that, it'd be tough to be in a bad mood, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Sun every day, right by the ocean, go catch whatever your dinner, have food by the beach,
Mm,
It's it's really
I
nice.
don't know, but it sounds nice.
Yeah. Oh, it is nice. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Definitely up
Um,
there. Yeah.
I
I
uh,
recommend. Yeah.
I go to my house, to the shed, to the
Yeah.
office, and
Yeah.
then baseball diamonds right now, and
Ah,
gym
okay.
pins.
Yeah. Baseball. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I go.
Always the summer. Yeah. That time of year.
There's a lot of baseball, a
Hmm.
lot of it. Yeah, I've been to a lot of diamonds this year. I'm just
Yeah.
getting into this thing. I'm
Ah.
new to this baseball
Yeah.
dad thing. There's a lot of it.
Oh,
Slow
yeah.
game, slow game.
It is a
I'm used
slow
to
game.
full speed, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
so now we just sit here. We're just
Yeah.
gonna sit like there's nothing to
Yeah.
do.
There's
We're just
nothing. Watch him pitch and then hit the ball. I think
you,
it's one
you
of the
just
things.
gotta relax. You just gotta sit
Oh,
down and
yeah.
relax and be like, I'm here. We're watching. It's gonna take some time, but we're here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know it's like I've watched the Jays play and I mean I'm into it a little bit with the boys, but it's a slower paced game compared to hockey for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but it is of the level you're watching too. Like when you watch the
Yeah.
kids that can play, it's like, man, it's
Yeah.
pretty fun to watch these kids play when
Oh,
it's
yeah.
they're
It's fun
good
in every sport if you're winning. If
and
you're having
good at
fun
it.
with it. Yeah, and you're good at it. For sure.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
like when kids are coming up and they're like, "Oh, I think I like this sport more than that sport," and it's like, well, that's
yeah.
because you're better at
Yeah.
it.
Well, and it helps, yeah. I think when baseball's cheaper than hockey too to get into. If
So
you're a goalie
it
especially too for
baseball's
hockey.
way cheaper, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. I think it's one of my thing because my dad, he grew up in, like, in Laval in Quebec, and, I mean, he knew what hockey was, obviously, and he watched hockey, but he never really played besides playing on the pond, right, with his
Yeah.
friends, and, when I told him when I was young I wanted to be a goalie, my parents were like, "Hold on," you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's a lot more
expensive
money.
here. Oh, yeah, it's a lot more money, but now I'm at the point in my life where in my career where I'll pay for my own stuff, and I had a deal with Bauer, so which was really cool to work with them and then get gear, and then, with the national team, how they supplied the gear, right? So,
Yeah, that's better.
a lot better, yeah.
I remember a kid wanted to go into the one store that you can shoot pucks, and test out the
Okay, yeah.
sticks. And then
Yeah,
he's like, "Can we go check out like how much Knox's equipment would cost?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go check it out." And man, the
yeah,
price tags were like made me laugh because I'm like, "There's no way you would ever be a goalie, even if you wanted to be."
yeah, I know. I have, one of the buddies I train with, Brad Hunt, he plays for, Colorado's or no, yeah, Colorado's American League team now this year. And his son's just starting to play hockey. And he told his daddy he wants to be a goalie of all positions, and he's a D, right?
Yeah,
And oh yeah, he looked at me, told me that, and he's like, "Do you have any spare gear you could lend me?" And I'm like,
yeah.
"Yeah, yeah,
My daughter told me she wanted to play goalie one game, and
mhm,
well, she's quite competitive, and she realized the
yeah,
other girls couldn't raise the puck in under 9, so
mhm.
she just laid there the whole game, just laid
Yeah, oh,
there,
yeah,
didn't get up.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah."
we
I
we
wish I
won.
wish it
We
was still
won.
like that. It would have been a much easier.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
we've gotten really off topic, haven't we?
yeah.
We've
I'm
just
kind of
been
gone
talking
over
about
the.
sports. I thought we were supposed to be talking about hockey, eh?
Yeah.
Maybe this is talking about hockey. So, like, do you have any more career aspirations? Like,
Yeah. Mm,
obviously, with the Russia, China, all the
mm.
world stuff, and having a Chinese passport, it's like you kind of have to wait to see if opportunities that you want come back up, or you do the
Yeah.
Laurier thing and see if North America works out, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, hockey is one of those things that you really don't know how things are gonna pan out, right? And your career could go back to Europe and stay in North America. If I could pick, honestly, I wanna stay in North America if I can, right? The idea is for me, I was talking to my agent about it, to play, at Laurier and, get games there and then, hopefully staying in North America,
Right.
get a deal
And
here,
see where it
right?
goes.
See where it goes. I mean, I've
You're
obviously had
still
the.
young after all the stuff you've done.
Yeah, I mean, obviously after the opportunity with KHL in Europe and then everything happening, and the Olympics, I think I'm more than capable to play at that level, right? So
You just got to
see
get the
where things
opportunity
go,
and
right?
show what you can do and get some games in, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's all it takes is one door to open and you kick it down, right? So
That exactly.
yeah,
That's what you got to do.
it's exciting for sure. It's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you, and I guess I'll be cheering on Wilfrid Laurier, which I've never paid
Yeah,
attention to them really, but
yeah, yeah.
I'll be paying attention this year, and hopefully you
Nice,
guys
right
run
on.
amok, right?
Absolutely.
The
Yeah,
Golden Hawks, right?
Yeah, the Golden Hawks. Yeah, they got a good program there. New coach, kind of new team. Last season we went to the semifinals for playoffs, and this year we had 14 new guys, new recruits last season that came in, and we still went to the semis.
Oh, so that's
Pretty
promising.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So this year we're looking at getting a better result and see where things pan out, right?
Yeah.
So
So do they play out of the, I think it's called the rec center.
yeah, we play at the Memorial Rec Center
Yeah.
there, which is off campus. I think it's the only U Sports team that plays off campus, which is kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a good facility, does the job, right? And I think we're the only team that has a was it Olympic size rink too,
Yeah,
so,
I
which is
know the
crazy.
rink. So fun fact was when I first went AAA in
Yeah.
Adam, I played for Waterloo, and
Okay. Yeah.
that was when the barn was first opening up,
Ah.
and
Wow.
yeah, it was a lot of ice out there.
Yeah, it is a lot of ice, which is actually a lot nicer for me, just coming from Europe and being used to Olympic size, and then coming here.
Yeah,
You know,
easy
better
adjustment.
transition. Yeah.
Yeah,
But definitely sucks when you go from Olympic size to North American size for every other team, when you're playing away games.
yeah.
But
Well, I don't know how you guys goalie. I don't know how to coach it. I needed a goalie coach for that.
yeah, yeah, no, for sure.
I only work on the mental side. I don't
Mhm.
work on the technique side of
Yeah.
goaltending. You know.
Hmm.
hmm
Yeah. Stop the puck. I think it's the biggest
Well, you
advice.
got to know what you know. I know I'm no goalie.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those positions I think that's like I remember when I was younger. This is probably like Adam, and we were like one of the goalies got injured, and I wasn't dressing that game, and they asked me to play as a player, so just for fun, more or less. So I
Yeah.
played player, and one of my buddies played goal, and kind of switched it up. And the coach asked me one piece of advice I could give my buddy who's playing a net, and I just looked at him and I just said, "Stop the puck," like this.
Yeah. That's
It's
I
simple.
asked a couple goalies, I'm like, what should I be teaching them? They're like, just fire pucks at them. They're at that age. Just keep
Yeah,
shooting at them and they'll
keep
figure out
shooting.
how to stop it.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah. They
But
figure out what works. That's what practicing does,
yeah,
right?
exactly, right? You got to figure it out as you go, right? It is what it is. So
Yeah. Uh,
yeah.
well, I don't know. I think the only thing I got is I think it's really neat what you've done. I think it's really I that's what I love doing about this is everybody's tale is so different and how it
Mhm,
started for you and where it's all gone is quite the
mhm,
journey. And you're only 24 and there's still so many things you could do in hockey. And
mhm.
man, it's exciting times
It is exciting
to be
times. Yeah.
24 again.
I know. It's crazy because it feels like I was just 20 years old, playing in Russia, and now 24, right? How things pan out. But
Mm.
definitely excited about the future, right? I'm just getting started, more or less, right?
Well, if you want to feel young, no, yeah, young. The year I hung up the wheels, the next season that I'm transitioning out of the game was when you were at the Delta Hockey Academy.
Wow, wow,
Okay,
that's
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 how
a
old
while
I
ago,
am. Yeah,
yeah.
and I still try to be cool and hip in my shed, even when I'm 40.
Yeah.
You know,
Water, yeah. Got the lingo and everything, yeah.
right? Yeah, we
Yeah.
call tape jobs TJs now in under 13, and they're
Oh, yeah,
mad
yeah,
mad
PJ.
style. That means mad
Yeah.
style, I believe.
Yes, it is, yeah. Or
See?
clear. Clear is like, with, sock tape. Yeah, some sock holes.
Right, clear, yeah. We called it plastic, I think, but anyways. Um,
Okay, well, that's what you guys say back east, you know? That's the lingo back east.
well, I guess I should get ready for bed and maybe get this out there before I do that. You know?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me
Hey,
here.
thanks for
Fun.
coming on and thanks for being a shed guy. I usually only have guys on that have been referred by other shed guys now if they're new,
Oh, is that
because
what it is?
well,
Okay.
I try to have on the good people, I don't have to go searching as much as I used to.
Well, it's everybody knows everybody, you know?
It's true,
So,
man. It's weird.
it is
All
it is
all of a
really
sudden you're
weird.
having a Chinese Olympian in your shed and it's a
Yeah.
Thursday.
It's a Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, that's fun.
But anyways, thanks for making the time for me and it's been a blast. Hopefully you had fun because I did.
Oh, yeah, I had fun. It was great time being here. Thanks for having me.
And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Obi and Wally.